There are moments in life when we feel like everything we've been taught is too small to hold the truth we sense inside us. When the world's noise becomes unbearable and the surface-level answers fall apart, there is a silent pull inside that refuses to be ignored, a pull towards something higher, something beyond. If you're here right now, it's because that pull is active inside you. You've felt the tension of being in this world, but not of it. You've sensed the unseen forces shaping reality and wondered why certain things seem to block your peace, your clarity, your power. That's because chosen ones are not meant to operate at the level of ordinary reality. You're designed to function at a higher frequency, but you've been conditioned to forget, to compress your energy to fit into systems that were never built for your vibration. But the codes for higher realms were never lost. They were encoded in sound, in vibration, in ancient mantras that weren't just chants, they were frequency keys. And I'm going to reveal 5 of them, not just so you can repeat them, but so you can experience what happens when ancient sound and your own energy field collide and lift you into the higher vibrational realms where fear, doubt, and confusion cannot survive. Let's get one thing clear first. Mantras are not about language, they are about resonance. You don't need to believe in them. Your energy system recognizes them at the cellular level. Your DNA responds to sound. Your consciousness is shaped by frequency. Everything you think, feel, or do is influenced by the energetic environment you are in. If you're surrounded by low vibrational input, you feel drained, chaotic, lost. But the moment you introduce high-frequency codes into your field, your system begins to recalibrate. This is why mantras are powerful. They don't teach you, they tune you. You don't need more information, you need alignment. And mantras align faster than thought, bypassing mental noise and going straight into the energetic core.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Now think about this. What if you've been struggling not because of your circumstances, but because your vibration hasn't been able to rise to meet the reality you're meant to live? What if the constant struggle, fatigue, or inner conflict isn't a flaw, but a signal that your frequency is being jammed by patterns, energies, and inputs that do not belong to you? The answer isn't to force change, it's to raise your vibration so high that low-frequency realities can no longer hold you. And the ancient mantras I'm about to give you are the gateway. These aren't random words. They are living frequencies that have been used for thousands of years by those who refuse to live as slaves to fear, time, or limitation. When you speak a mantra with intention, something shifts immediately. Your energy field begins to respond. And if you're sensitive, you'll feel it. It might start as heat, tingling, a strange calm, or a sudden emotional release. That's your field adjusting. That's your system shedding old density. The more you chant, the more your vibration stabilizes. And then reality begins to mirror your internal state. This is not magic. It's alignment. Chosen ones do not beg for peace, they create it through frequency mastery. Mantras are the shortcut. And the first one is the root, the one that stabilizes your base energy, purifies your field, and creates a foundation that cannot be shaken. The moment you use it, you're going to feel different. Not just calmer, but clearer. You'll notice that your thoughts slow down, your emotional storms begin to settle. Your body relaxes in a way it hasn't in years. Why? Because most of the tension you carry isn't even yours. It's absorbed from the collective, from media, from other people's energy fields. This first mantra acts like a firewall. It blocks out the static, grounds your energy, and centers your awareness. And from there you access realms where clarity isn't something you find, it's something you become. But the real transformation happens when you commit. Not once, not when you feel like it, but daily, because repetition locks in frequency, and frequency shapes reality. The second mantra is the one that connects you to the higher mind, the intuitive channel that bypasses thought and taps into direct knowing. When you chant it, you'll notice synchronicities increase, inner guidance becomes louder, and decisions feel effortless. You're no longer guessing, you're flowing. But this flow only activates when your vibration reaches a certain threshold. That's why so many people feel blocked. They haven't stabilized the frequency needed to access higher guidance. This mantra opens that door, and once it's open, you can't go back. The flood of insight, the sense of divine timing, the connection to your real path, it becomes constant. That's when you realize you were never stuck. You were simply tuned to the wrong frequency. Now here's the thing most people won't tell you. Accessing higher realms doesn't mean you escape life. It means you master it. It means you bring the frequency of the higher dimensions into your daily actions. Your relationships, your work, your choices, they become charged with clarity, with power, with peace. That's how you know you're operating at a higher level. Not by what you believe, but by what you radiate. People feel it. Circumstances shift. Resistance fades, and fear can no longer control you. The third mantra is the activator, the one that ignites your power, your voice, your ability to impact. This one is not passive, it's fire. When you chant it, you might feel heat, energy bursts, a sudden urge to move, to act, to create. That's your power center coming online. Most chosen ones feel blocked because they've been conditioned to suppress their power, to be nice, to be quiet, to play small. This mantra destroys that program. It burns through self-doubt and reconnects you to your authority. Not over others, but over yourself, your time, your energy, your reality. And once that's active, no one can manipulate you again. You speak truth, move with certainty, and your presence becomes undeniable. People start treating you differently, not because they changed, but because you did. The energy you carry demands respect, alignment, and truth. The fourth mantra is the heart opener, the one that dissolves resentment, pain, and emotional blocks. This one isn't just about love, it's about power through compassion. When you chant it, you might cry, feel release, or sudden warmth. That's old wounds dissolving. That's the armor breaking. And when your heart is open, you are unstoppable, not weak, but deeply strong. Because nothing can control a heart that's free. This mantra frees you. And freedom is the highest frequency there is. The fifth mantra is the ascension code, the one that lifts your entire field into a new dimension. When you chant it, the room feels different. Time slows. Awareness expands. And you begin to perceive reality not as matter, but as energy. You see the matrix clearly, and you realize you are not bound by it. This mantra is the gateway. Chant it long enough, and you step through. The moment you commit to chanting ancient mantras for 7 days, something fundamental starts to shift, not just in your mind or your mood, but in your actual energetic structure. And because sound is not entertainment, it's architecture, it's vibration in motion, and vibration shapes reality. The first time you chant, you might feel strange, disconnected, or even skeptical, but that's only because your energy field has been absorbing low frequencies for so long that high-frequency codes feel unfamiliar, like your system doesn't know how to respond. But the moment you keep going, the moment you repeat the mantras daily with intention, your field begins to adjust. And it's not subtle, it's immediate. First, your sleep shifts, you start resting deeper, your dreams become clearer and more vivid because the mind is no longer clogged with static. Your body begins to feel lighter, not in weight, but in tension, because the energy knots start releasing. The mantras are cutting through the energetic debris you've been carrying from stress, noise, fear, and other people's energy. You begin to feel your own frequency again, maybe for the first time in years, and once that happens, your reality starts reacting. Because reality is not fixed, it's a mirror, it bends to the vibration you hold. When you chant daily for 7 days, your baseline frequency rises, and the mirror begins to reflect something new. The right people show up, conflicts fade, and opportunities appear not because you forced anything, but because your field is finally coherent. Most people try to change life with force, but force is weak compared to frequency. When you carry clarity, you don't chase, you magnetize, and the ancient mantras are the frequency tools that activate that magnetism. You don't need to know how they work. You only need to chant and observe, and what you'll observe is that fear begins to dissolve, not all at once, but layer by layer. Because fear cannot survive in a high-frequency environment. It requires chaos, confusion, and separation. The mantras realign you with presence, with coherence, with unity, and in that state, fear has no anchor. You start seeing fear for what it really is, not a signal to stop, but a sign that you're on the edge of a breakthrough, and you move through it, not with force, but with resonance. The mantras don't fight fear, they dissolve it. And what's left is power, not external power, but the inner authority to choose your thoughts, your emotions, your actions without interference from old programs or collective noise. And this is where realms open, not in some mystical fantasy, but in direct experience. Your perception expands, time feels different, slower, but richer. Your awareness sharpens. You hear the subtle cues of life, the guidance, the synchronicities you didn't notice before. Everything begins to feel guided, not random. Your days feel meaningful because you're no longer reacting, you're responding with alignment. And alignment is the master key to higher realms because it means you're living from your energy, not your fear, your presence, not your past, your clarity, not your doubt. In that state, you rise not by escaping, but by embodying, and that embodiment becomes power, presence becomes influence, your vibration becomes undeniable. People feel it, they react differently, not because you told them anything, but because your energy speaks louder than words. This is what 7 days of chanting does. It makes you magnetic, it makes you grounded, it makes you clear, and clarity is rare in a world addicted to noise. You become the still point in chaos, the calm in the storm, not passive, but powerful. And your actions carry weight, your words carry resonance. And you no longer seek truth, you radiate it. And that radiation changes lives, not because you try, but because you are different. And when you are different, the world around you shifts because it must. Energy bends matter, vibration leads form, and when you raise your vibration consistently through mantra, the form of your life begins to align with your essence. The struggle fades, the force fades. What's left is flow, not because life is easier, but because you are stronger. This is the power of ancient mantras, not to escape reality, but to elevate within it, not to pretend to be spiritual, but to live at a higher octave of being. And that higher octave is where chosen ones belong, not in limitation, but in mastery, not in fear, but in power, not in waiting, but in presence. The mantras are not magic, they are tools, and tools only work when used. So the question is not, do they work? The question is, will you use them? Will you rise? Will you live at the frequency you were born to hold? Because that's the choice now, not tomorrow, not someday now. Chant and rise. When you chant consistently and your energy begins to shift, you start noticing that things which used to disturb you no longer reach you, not because they disappeared, but because your frequency rose above them, and low-frequency patterns cannot survive in a high-frequency environment. You no longer get pulled into arguments, distractions, or cycles of self-doubt. Your decisions become sharper, faster, and cleaner, because the noise that once blurred your thinking is gone. The mantras have cleared the clutter, not just in your mind, but in your energetic field. And now your space is clean, your signal is strong, and your presence is undeniable. When people encounter you, they feel it instantly. Something is different, your calmness, your focus, your stillness. It disrupts their patterns. It challenges their energy. And either they rise with you or fall away. This is not ego, this is alignment. High energy exposes low energy. It magnifies what's true and burns away what's false. And now you walk through life with a different awareness. You can see beyond words, beyond appearances, into the real intention behind actions. And this insight gives you an advantage. You are no longer guessing people's motives, you feel them instantly. And this saves you from wasting energy on the wrong paths, the wrong people, the wrong decisions. Your path becomes straight, direct, and efficient, because wasted energy is a luxury you no longer tolerate. You begin to value your time, your focus, your peace, because you feel the cost of losing them, and mantras sharpen that awareness. They train your energy to stay clean, centered, and focused even when the world tries to pull you off balance. And it will, because rising triggers resistance. It forces old energies to surface. It challenges your habits, your attachments, your comfort zones. But now you have the tools. You no longer fight chaos with more chaos. You center, you chant, you stabilize, and then you act with force, with clarity, with speed. This is mastery, not the absence of challenge, but the ability to stay strong within it, to bend reality instead of being bent by it. And as this becomes your norm, your reality begins to reflect it in every detail. Your relationships become real. Your work becomes aligned. Your environment becomes peaceful. You no longer need to chase happiness. You are grounded in it. You no longer seek power. You radiate it. You no longer ask for permission. You give yourself authority. And this changes how you move, how you speak, how you create. Your energy speaks louder than any words. And people will notice. Some will be drawn. Others will resist. That's not your concern. You are here to rise, to hold frequency, to live in truth, and mantras are your foundation. Not rituals, not rules, not dogma, pure sound, pure frequency, pure alignment. And when you live like this, fear cannot follow you, doubt cannot trap you, and the past cannot define you. You are new. You are rising. You are free. Chant and live it.